UK suspends refugee family reunion applications. The UK government has announced a temporary suspension of new applications under the Refugee Family Reunion Scheme. Home Secretary Yvette Cooper confirmed that the pause, which takes effect immediately, is designed to align refugee family reunion rules with broader immigration requirements. New restrictions and eligibility criteria. Under the revised approach, applicants must meet existing immigration thresholds. Sponsors generally need to earn at least £29,000 annually, demonstrate access to adequate accommodation, and ensure that family members can show a basic understanding of English. These conditions represent a significant shift from the earlier, more lenient refugee family reunion route, which allowed those granted asylum to bring family members without such restrictions. Reasons behind the policy shift. Cooper explained that the previous system was designed decades ago to respond to families torn apart by war and persecution. However, she argued that the rules have not kept pace with today's challenges and are now out of step with European neighbors, such as Denmark and Switzerland. Both countries impose a 2-year waiting period before refugees can reunite with their families, giving them time to secure employment and housing. In contrast, the UK system has seen applications processed within about a month, often before refugees leave asylum housing. This has led to increased reliance on local councils for housing support. According to Cooper, in some areas, refugee families now account for more than a quarter of homelessness cases, straining public resources. Opposition response and political pressure. The announcement sparked criticism from Conservative Shadow Home Secretary Chris Philp. He argued that minor changes to family reunion rules are insufficient to address what he described as a broader border security crisis. Philp emphasized that protests across the country reflect public frustration with the government's handling of asylum and immigration. While supporting peaceful demonstrations, he insisted that small tweaks will not solve the problem. Growing concern over small boat crossings. The suspension comes amid renewed scrutiny of small boat crossings in the English Channel. More than 28,000 migrants have arrived in the UK by this method so far in 2025, surpassing the figures from the same period in 2024. Although August recorded the lowest number of crossings for that month since 2019, smuggling networks have been cramming more people onto each vessel, averaging 65 passengers per boat. Debate over use of migrant hotels. The government is also under fire for its reliance on hotels to house asylum seekers. The promise to phase out hotels by 2029 has met resistance from local communities, many of whom object to the facilities being used in their towns. Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer, in a BBC interview, admitted he would prefer to end the use of hotels sooner, but stressed that asylum cases must be processed in an orderly and efficient manner. Revisiting the European Convention on Human Rights. Another major element of the government's immigration strategy involves reconsidering how the European Convention on Human Rights applies to family reunion and deportation cases. Lawyers have frequently used the treaty's provisions on family life to delay or halt removals of failed asylum seekers. While the government has ruled out full withdrawal from the ECHR, Cooper said adjustments will be made to its interpretation in immigration contexts. Future reforms and international cooperation. The Home Secretary also indicated that further reforms to family reunion routes will be outlined later this year, with implementation expected by spring 2026. At the same time, the UK is moving forward with its bilateral agreement with France. Cooper announced that the first returns under this deal are expected later this month, marking a significant step in joint efforts to reduce illegal crossings. A balancing act between compassion and control. The government's decision reflects the difficult balance between humanitarian obligations and public concerns over immigration pressures. While refugees fleeing conflict have historically been offered more flexible pathways to reunite with family, the new restrictions underscore a growing emphasis on self-sufficiency, integration, and reducing strain on local authorities. The debate highlights broader political divisions. Labour is positioning itself as pragmatic by tightening rules while keeping commitments to international treaties. Conservatives are calling for tougher measures, including reviving the Rwanda scheme. And Reform UK is pushing for more radical steps like leaving the ECHR entirely. Critics argue the move is insufficient to address wider border challenges, while ministers stress further reforms are on the way. The video highlights the ongoing struggle to balance humanitarian support with public concerns over immigration.
UK suspends refugee family reunion applications. The UK government has temporarily suspended new refugee family reunion applications, aligning them with standard immigration rules that require a 29,000 bond income threshold, adequate housing, and English language skills. Home Secretary Yevgeny Cooper said the change reflects practices in countries like Denmark and Switzerland, where refugees wait 2 years before applying. She argued the UK faster process has increased homelessness with the refugee families, accounting for over a quarter of cases in some countries. The video comes in the criticism of asylum seeker portals and record small boat crossings, with over 48,000 arrivals so far in 2025. Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer placed to face our photos Italy before the 2049 target by accelerating asylum decision and returns. Conservatives led by Jay Flip dismissed the move as inadequate and called for reviving the Rwanda plan. Meanwhile, the government is revising how the European Convention on Human Rights applies to immigration while also preparing for the family reunion reforms and implementing return under a new deal with the France.